Hello, lovely people. New adventure unlocked. I'm headed to the next game. My mama's here. We're going to Aqua Zumba. I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am trying fencing today. I'm just there for the vibes. I know nothing about baseball. I'm there for the vibes. Hello, lovely people. Listen, Linda, listen. I am going to take my time reviewing this episode because it was a lot. So many layers to it. I was writing okay. So I am reviewing Chrisley's Back to Reality Season 1, Episode 4, Praying for a Pardon. I feel like I need to give a few disclaimers because this show is more controversial than I thought. And I gave a disclaimer when I reviewed episode 1, but I feel like I've had new watchers. So I have to give a disclaimer again because I got messages on my Instagram, paging Dr. Pam. Make sure you follow me, please. I got messages on Instagram like, how could you review this show? They're MAGA people, blah, blah, blah. Let me say this. I have friends from all walks of life, and that's how I prefer it. I don't want to just be friends with people that just think like me, do everything that I want to do because I don't learn. And I think it's because, for those that don't know, I am a therapist. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. I'm also a maternal health psychologist. So I am licensed and trained to be unbiased and work with people from all walks of life. When I tell you that my clientele is people from all walks of life, I'm literally trained and bound by my code of ethics to be unbiased. So I can have a different political view and still review this show. I also don't have any skin in the game because I don't know them people. So people, I didn't realize how strong feelings people have towards Savannah. And I'm like, I'm able to see all sides. People are like, I hate Savannah. She's the worst. And I'm like, okay. Thank you for your opinion. I respect your perspective. Again, when I review this show, I am unbiased. Anybody and everybody can get it. I've given it to Chase. I've given it to Savannah. I've given it to Mama Pam, okay? In this episode, I'm gonna give it to Papa Pam. What's his name? Harvey Hughes. That name is so like Harvey Hughes, like you all know what I mean, like a upper echelon type of fella, should be working on Rockefeller with a suit and a top hat, Harvey Hughes, and then you see Papa Pam. I don't know why I want to call him Papa Pam, but anyway, so I want to give a disclaimer. I am not a Democrat and I am not a Republican. I am an independent. I vote according to issues because, again, in my opinion, both parties are jacked up. Okay? All right. So now that I've given that disclaimer, I'm going to review the show. Why am I reviewing the show? I'm reviewing the show because, number one, I like the Chrisleys. I used to watch Chrisleys and know it's best. And I also think that this opens up conversations about incarceration and what it does to families. That's why I'm reviewing the show. So please don't send me any more messages on Instagram trying to cuss me out for reviewing this show. Relax. And y'all gonna hurt my feelings. I'm a Libra. I'm sensitive. Anyway, y'all heard of this drink called Two Chicks? It's like a sparkling, I'm drinking the sparkling lemon drop. I went to a neighbor of mine and she was drinking it. And I'm like, oh, this is so good. This is the vodka, honeydew, and lime cocktail. They're not paying me. I think the can is so pretty. They're good with their marketing. That's how they sold me. So listen, I had a very productive day, so I deserve to sip on a little something. So let's get right into the episode. All right, listen. So we start off with Julie talking about the things that she has taken for granted. The simple things in life. Chilling with her children, watching TV. And honestly, you never know how valuable your freedom is until it's taken away. And that actually made me sit back and think like, wow, like, like, listen, they say we are all one bad decision away from incarceration. Like, look, so we start off with that. So this scene is very interesting because you have Savannah, Chloe, and Grayson. They are on their way to Kentucky. It's a 3.5 hour drive to go see Julie. They got to start their day at like 5 a.m. because of the drive. And I'm sure it's something that, is very taxing on them to drive 3.5 hours there, 3.5 hours back. Now, I'm about to tell a little bit about my business. I may or may have not had an ex in prison. Sorry, Mom. I hope my mom don't watch this review. It was a long, long time ago. I don't think I was barely 21. And I think I took that drive there like twice. I said, this is not for me, bruh. I said, this is not for me. Anyway, I have so many stories. Maybe one, I don't know. I don't want to put my business out there, but maybe one day I'll do a story time. Who knows? But where am I going with this? Oh, I remember when I went to go visit him in prison, it was the scariest. Oh, and I used to work at a prison, by the way, too. Oh, full circle moment. So when I would go visit him, it's just an eerie feeling. Like, you're kind of like, am I going to get out of here? Like, the clank, they're very strict on your dress code. I mean, I used to have like clothes in my trunk just in case if my clothes was, and I have body on me. So if my clothes was too tight or if my clothes was, man, listen, if you've never visited somebody in prison, count your lucky stars. I did that one or two or maybe 3 times. I'm just like, I'm not coming back. And I remember he really wanted me to take a picture with him. Again, I was barely 20. I feel like I was maybe like 19, 20. I don't remember. And I kept saying to myself, do not take a picture with this man because you're going to be somebody one day. It's just, God just told me, like, girl, you're going to be somebody one day. And so you don't want this picture like in the atmosphere. And every time I would come visit this dude, he would be like, we should go take a picture. Like one of those prison photos. You know a prison photo when you see a prison photo. Like, you just know it's a prison photo. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Maybe next time. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to get up. Thank God I did not take the picture. Can you imagine if I was like, I mean, I'm not a celebrity or anything, but can you imagine if it was like, I'm like doing my thing, like, very successful. And then this picture's like floating around. But it was just like, God was like, don't take that picture. Don't take that picture. So glad not to take the picture. Anyway, y'all didn't come here for that. All right. So they went to go visit Julie. And as usual, the cameras are not allowed in prison, federal or whatever. So that's a long visiting hours. I was like, wow. So they got to see Julie for 5 hours. And I feel bad for Chloe because just being in that environment, it's just, for me as an adult, when I went, like, it was scary for me. So I can't imagine as a little girl, like, when I think about it, I just get the chills. Anyway, and then poor Chloe too. As we know, the prison system is just filthy or moldy. So her allergies were like acting up. I felt so bad. Felt so bad. But I also looked at Chloe and was like, man, Chloe is really grown. Like, I mean, she's not grown, but she is. Remember, we saw her like as a toddler on Chrisley Snow Best. So she's such a cutie pie. Like, she just really is. Anyway, so they talk about how, like, right before they went to prison, they spend their last Christmas together and they try to make the best out of it. Just have like a dinner and just spend time. Like, they were just trying to spend time as much as possible, And Chloe talks about how, not Chloe, I'm sorry. Savannah talks about how the night before they had to turn themselves in, they were working on a puzzle. Well, they've been working on this puzzle. And Julie stayed up very late to try to finish the puzzle, but she didn't. She went to sleep. And Savannah was so determined to finish the puzzle that she stayed up until the wee hours in the morning doing this puzzle. And she finished it. So to me, the symbolism of it, so the puzzle's of a butterfly. And butterflies usually represent like freedom, right? Free flying, things like that. So I think it's very interesting that the puzzle is of a butterfly. And I think they should keep that puzzle forever. Like it's a reminder of like a moment in time, that they had. Like the symbolism of it was really, I kind of got a little teary eyed when she was talking about it. And it really, the price of freedom is just kind of like, we really take it for granted. Anyway, so Grayson talked about how they had to decide, they had to pick which parent they were going to go with to turn themselves in. That's a very, very tough decision because he said, you don't want one parent to think that you favor the other over them. And man, Grayson is so mature. He decided to go with dad because dad was in Pensacola, right? Was it Pensacola? Florida. Yeah, Pensacola. Because he was the furthest. Now, a regular child would have probably been like, oh, mom is the closest. Let me just go get it over with. But he was like, no, I chose to go with dad because dad is the furthest. So it was Grayson and Savannah went with Todd. And then Chase and Julie's parents went with Julie. Now they talk about how, or Mama Pam talks about how she had to watch Julie. First of all, she has to turn herself into a men's prison. I'm not going to act like I understand the prison system, but I'm like, what? Because I guess the women's prison is on top of the men's prison. I mean, that's just really so freaky and it just seems so inappropriate. Especially if somebody has trauma inflicted by men. I don't know. I was just like, what? She had to do what? So they watched Julie walk in with her Bible. And then they said a few moments later, she comes out with her Bible and she tells her mom, they won't let me bring this in with me. Can you please mail it to me? Mama Pam, I hope you mailed that Bible. Because it's been things that you have not done that you're supposed to do. So I hope you mailed that Bible. Anyway, so Chase says that watching his mom walk in, he basically was like F life at that point. And I do feel like even though Chase already had issues with alcohol, that because he describes that moment as the worst moment of his life, that was the catalyst to the downward spiral. And I think that he admits it, right? He's like, he admits it. So then you have Todd, Savannah, and Grayson. So when they get down there, Todd tells them, he gets out the car, he doesn't want to hug them. I think, Todd's mentality is like, never let them see you break, never let you see them sweat. So he basically was like, I'm going in, I'm going to hold my head up high, I'm going to do my time. And he didn't want his children to see him break. And apparently when he went in, Savannah was like super distraught. Now I listened to Savannah's podcast and one of her friends basically said, Savannah herself says she waited until her dad left to break down. So can you imagine just holding in so much intense emotions and then when your dad leaves, it's just like, it just comes crashing down. Whether you like Savannah or not, like this is all very traumatic, and I would not be surprised if they all get PTSD from this, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder from this. Anyway, so in listening to Savannah's podcast, one of her friends says that evening she was so distraught, like her, or was it when they got sentenced? I don't know. I might be mixing up. But like she couldn't even get herself out of bed to give herself a bath. Like her friend had to give her a bath. I think that might have been the sentence. But anyway, you know what I mean. Like the whole ordeal was just very, very traumatic, right? And why I give Savannah a lot of grace is because you have to process your own grief, because remember, this is like a death. And then you have to muster up the energy to take care of two kids. Like that is a lot. you know? So you've got Chase and Jody, and they are in Louisiana. And Chase says that since his parents have gone to prison, he spends holidays with Louisiana. Now, I'm going to say this. I love how Jody's family has embraced Chase, and it feels lightheartedness. There's a lightheartedness to that family. First of all, Jody's mom is fly, y'all. Like, I don't know how old she is, but she is cute. She had her outfit, she had her eyebrows done. She's cute. But I love her attitude towards Chase, where she's like, I'm not trying to replace your mother, but just know that I'm here. And she's very loving towards him. And I think that Jody's family represents safety and peace for Chase, because he doesn't feel like that in his whole family. In his own family, Chase feels judged, criticized, right? And kind of like the black sheep. So him going to, like, he was playing around with Jody's mother. They were by the lake. Like, that seems like a good getaway for him. He also says, like, in his family, they are like enmeshed, like they're in each other's business. But Jody's family is like, they're close, but they respect each other's decisions, you know? And I also didn't know, so I went on Jody's Instagram page because it's like, are they still together? Like, they look cute together to me. I hope they're still together. And it looks like they're still together, but I don't see anywhere on her Instagram that Chase proposed, because I think that was a thing. Chase was going to propose to Jody. So I also didn't know that Jody moved for Chase. So that is a big commitment for her to move her whole life from Louisiana to, I think they were in Tennessee, right? To Tennessee. So this is why I really feel like Jody is not getting a fair chance, because it's really unfortunate that Jody doesn't get embraced as much as her family embraced Chase, and that's not right. You've got Nanny Faye, who I do love, but it's not really kind to Jody, and I don't know what Jody has done, right? And then you've got Savannah, who basically just don't even want nothing to do with her. And then you've got Julie, that Julie's like, I don't even know her, and da 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 da. So, you know, it's really, really unfair. And if I was Jody, I would feel a certain way, because my family embraced you wholeheartedly, and your family just seems like they don't even rock with me. So I would feel a way. You know, I would feel a way. But it does seem like Chase is trying to put his foot down and say, you know, if people don't respect you, I'm going to have some boundaries towards that. And I will say kudos, Chase, for demanding respect for your woman. That's very, very important. Then you have Sharita. Sharita was incarcerated with Julie. She's so pretty. Like, Sharita is so pretty. And she has a book. I think I'm going to get her book. And I subscribe to her YouTube page. But Sharita, girl, the last time you posted on your YouTube page was 9 months ago. Honey, you got to be consistent. Like, you just appeared on one of the major, like, TV shows. Like, you know, people are going to be checking for you. So, like, up your YouTube game up. Anyways, so they were Sharita and Julie were in the catering department together. And Sharita says that before Julie came, there was a big hype with her coming. Sharita had a friend in the investigator's office that basically tipped her off to Julie coming. And basically, you know, Julie's a celebrity, so everybody was excited about her coming. And it turned out to be a simple, how are you? And Sharita, when you look at Sharita, she feels safe. She seems real, like, calm-like. So I think Julie kind of sensed that. Sharita seems nurturing, and Julie opened up to her, which was like the start of their friendship. They both had white-collar crimes. They both had kids around the same age. So Sharita got out in 2023, and Julie was still in there. So Sharita met with Savannah and Chase. And what I love about this is, even though at the time they didn't know they were going to get a pardon, even though Julie got 7 years, Todd got 12 years, in a sense, they were preparing for Julie's release. Because to have that, you know, anybody else would have been like, I don't need to talk to somebody like Sharita because mom ain't getting out in like 5 years or whatever, right? Or whatever. But they decided to meet with Sharita to basically get a sense of like, what, how did she get adjusted coming back from prison, like how they need to prepare, what to look forward to. And Sharita told them, don't underestimate the person that's coming back. There's going to be a honeymoon period, but that's going to wear off very quickly. And I love that they were receptive to what she was saying, and she basically was like, look, like, when you come out, take your time. When she comes out, take your time with her. Don't expect them to just jump right into it. But I'm going to pause and I'm going to say this. I'm actually quite surprised that Julie and Todd have only been out for, let me see, July, August, September. Yeah, maybe like a few months, like 4 or 5 months. And already they've resumed their podcast, they've resumed taping, they're on these TV shows. And in my opinion, I do think that is a lot and there is an adjustment period. And I just hope that they are taking the time to just really get acclimated, because what happens with trauma is it can get stored, like sweeping dirt under the rug. And then when you least expect it, boom, it shows up in different areas. So I don't know if they believe in therapy, but I hope that since now that they've been out, I really hope that they're seeing a good therapist, and maybe we just don't know about it. But trying to like jump into all this stuff, it can be a lot, it really can be a lot. So, I mean, I know they got to make their money, they got to do their shows, but I do hope they are taking some solace time. I also like that, so Sharita read a letter that Julie wrote to her when Sharita was getting out. And I love that Julie said, I've been praying for God to send me a strong Black woman that could be a role model for Chloe, and thank God that he sent me you. And I'm gonna pause and say this. As a Black woman, I don't like when people say, I don't see color, right? And I know that people are saying that because they're trying to say, I treat everybody the same, but it's okay to see color. It's okay to say, I see you as a Black woman. I may not understand your plight. I may not, know your, I see you as a whatever. It's like, I have an Indian friend, right? And I see her as an Indian girl, right? She's got her traditions and her cultures and things like that. And I am like, teach me, like, tell me when you do certain things, what does that mean, right? I can't pretend, yes, she's a human being and I'm going to treat her like a human being, but I can't pretend that I have this Indian girl's in front of me and she doesn't come with her culture and her traditions and her sayings and things like that, right? So again, when people say I don't see color, I understand what they're trying to say, but when I say see me as a Black woman, but see me, see me. Just like I'm gonna see you if you were Asian, if you were Indian, if you were a white woman, and not just like a white person, but you might be a white person from the South is going to be different than a white person from the East Coast, right? Like, see me, So I love that Julie said, I've been wanting a Black woman to be a role model for Chloe, because that tells me that Julie also understands that while I am raising a Black child, she's not a Black woman. So there are certain things that Chloe needs that Julie cannot give her. I do not care. Okay? I do not care if you are her mom, whatever. There are certain conversations that certain cultures, white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, there are certain conversations that certain ethnicities and cultures and races have with their children that Julie, being a white woman, you can't have it with Chloe. Julie may not be able to talk to Chloe about how to recognize microaggressions, right? Julie may not be able to have the conversation with Chloe about, when someone says something about your skin tone or someone says something about your hair, right? You can have general conversations like, oh, if somebody's not nice to you, blah, blah, blah. You can have those things. But there's certain things that as a Black girl, that Black girls need that Julie cannot provide to her. And I don't care what anybody says, okay? Unless you are a black girl that have gone through a black experience. It's just an experience, you know? Just like unless you are a white girl from the South and you have gone through certain experience, I cannot tell a white girl from the South what the experience is gonna be. I just can't, because I'm not a white girl from the South. All right, so I love that, and I do hope that Sharita, I hope that they continue to be friends, because I think Julie needs that influence, and Chloe definitely needs that influence, okay? All right. Child, that was a lot. So, can I tell you how, like, Papa Pam or Mr. Hughes, I kind of find him a little funny, because I was cracking up when he was like, you know, Todd told him he does not want him to come see him in prison. And he was like, I'm curious to see what Todd's gonna look like, because Todd is like Botoxed up and like get things sucked out of his face. So he was like, I can't wait to see what Todd looks like. But you know what? When they showed, Todd didn't look bad at all. You know, when Todd got out of prison, when they showed him, he didn't look bad at all. But anyway, he was like, I was like, yeah, I can't wait to see what Todd looks like. So here is where, Julie, I'm going to give it to you a little bit. So Chase has been with Jody for over 2 years. And Chase has told Julie that he thinks he wants to propose to Jody. And Julie didn't seem very receptive to it, because Julie's like, I don't even know her. Take your time. I understand to take your time. Because Chase, I don't know if you've gotten yourself together to be somebody's husband, right? You shouldn't just marry because, oh, it's been over 2 years, so now I need to propose to her. No. Chase, is your mind right? It's your mental right? I'm sure your finances right. But if you're going to be a whole husband to somebody, you got to be whole for yourself. So for that part, I don't think that Chase was ready. And I was like, okay, they could get engaged and have a long engagement. But, you know, I do agree with Julie when she says, Chase, take your time. But Julie, it is not Jody's fault that you don't know her. Life doesn't stop when you're in prison. And at that time, we didn't know that Julie was going to get out when she did. So you're trying to tell me that you want Chase to wait a whole 7 years till you get out, till you get to know Judy, and then he could propose to her? That wasn't fair. And here's my thing. Julie, if you don't know the girl, why don't you put her on your visitors list, and then Chase can bring her and you can get to know her that way? Now listen, I understand that as a mom, you don't want to know your future daughter-in-law behind prison, but what choice do you have? So I did not agree with Julie when Julie, your main focus is you don't know Jody. Okay, well, can Jody come visit you? Can you and Jody start writing letters? It's like nobody will give this girl a chance. And I just feel like it's just not fair, because from what we could see, their relationship is healthy. She doesn't seem toxic. She seems very encouraging, supportive, loving. Isn't that what you want for your son? To be with somebody that's encouraging, healthy, loving, supportive. She comes from a good family. Her family embraces Chase. Like, I just feel like I feel like Jody is she's just getting a bad end of the deal. I know. So Jody even said, she's like, I don't feel like I'm getting a fair shot. And Chase was like, honestly, no girl has gotten a fair shot. And I don't think it's right. I feel like, wasn't there a time where Todd stopped talking to Savannah because they didn't like who she was dating? That's a bit too controlling. I do feel like the Chrisleys, they can be a little bit controlling, mainly on Todd's side. Okay. Anyway, so they talk about, so Savannah's on the phone with Todd, and Savannah is pissed because she hosted the family for Easter. Mama Pam and Papa Hughes came over for Easter. Okay. And Savannah had her friends, And Papa Hughes took a picture of, I guess, the bar and sent it to Chase. Major violation. Major violation. That was jacked up. First of all, that is so immature. Isn't he a pastor, y'all? Isn't he a pastor? Like, what are you doing? Okay, I understand you're a pastor, so you may not condone alcohol, but there's a difference between engaging and drinking alcohol with friends and being social and an addiction. Let me spell out what an addiction is. An addiction to alcohol is the inability to control alcohol or drinking this, even though it's causing problems, legal problems, physical problems, emotional problems. It's affecting your functioning, and you still cannot control the drinking. That is the definition of addiction. Savannah is not dealing with an addiction. She's just socializing with her friends and family. Now, if Chase was there and they had all the alcohol, I would have a big problem with it. That's called enabling. Because if you want Chase to get better, don't bring him in an environment where there's alcohol. But Chase was not there, right? So you can't take a picture and say, oh, Chase is not the only one with a problem. Savannah doesn't have a problem. Savannah does not have an addiction to alcohol. She's able to control her drinking. Her drinking is social based. So that was just so unfair. And then you're talking about a family that is in the public eye. So what if that picture got in the wrong hands? And I like that Chase checked him, and Chase was like, you're wrong. You shouldn't have done that. So I understand what Savannah's saying. Like, you're going to come to my house, you're going to take pictures, you're not welcome back. I definitely understand that. And Papa Hughes, if you did not like the alcohol that you saw, you should have gathered your things and gathered your wife and said, thank you for the Easter brunch. We're out of here. You could have just left. Okay? Instead of taking a picture. So, yeah, I'd be pissed off. Anyway, so Savannah's like, hey, so now they're talking about rumors of a pardon. Savannah hasn't heard anything, but Savannah's like, I don't know how this works. Julie kept hearing rumblings of a pardon. When she's on the phone with Todd's like, has anything come out in the press? Savannah's like, no, but I've had some productive conversations. But Savannah said, I got to hold this tight to the chest because the only two people I trust is Grayson and Chloe. So she did tell them, hey, we may be getting a pardon, but because she knows they're not going to say anything to anybody. Now, as they are leaving, Papa Hughes show up because they're in the car. They're about to go to church, light a candle. So Savannah is freaking out. You can tell that Savannah is very uncomfortable around the grandpa. Oh my God, this thing's almost finished. So they're in the car and she's freaking out. I mean, Savannah is a little bit dramatic, but sometimes I can be a little bit dramatic. So she's like, oh my God, Papa's here. So he comes. Oh, and Chase did tell him to apologize. So that was good on Chase too. And again, I like that even though Chase and Savannah are at odds, Chase is able to defend Savannah when needed and tell Papa, okay, you were wrong. So he walks up to the car. Savannah rolls down the window. He's trying to talk to her. She's like, let me come out. They go inside the house and Savannah's... So, yes, Papa Hughes was wrong, but I also don't like how Savannah was talking to him because at the end of the day, Savannah, girl, that is your elder. That's just not respectful. Like, let's say if somebody offended me, I don't know, my mom or something. You still gotta be respectful. But Papa Hughes also gives off he's like one of the buddies. I don't know. There needs to be a respect level there. Anyway, so Savannah was like, why would you do that? You enabled Chase. Chase has been drinking in your house, and that's way more disrespectful. And he admits it. But I will say this. I commend Papa Hughes for being accountable. He was accountable for his actions. And I say good on you for that. Because he didn't defend it. And he did admit that, because Julie lost her brother to unaliving himself. And he did admit that he feels as though, and a lot of people have told him that he has replaced his son that is no longer here with Chase, which is super, super sad. And grief is so complex. I give Papa Hughes a lot of grace. I'm not going to judge him for his admittance of replacing Trey, I think his name is Trey, with Chase, because grief is so complex. You cannot tell somebody how to grieve. You cannot. There's 7 stages of grief, but it's still a process, And grief has no timeline. I will say this. So in doing my research, Trey, Julie's brother, has a son, and I can't find anything about him on the internet. So not that I encourage codependency, but I'm wondering, does Papa Hughes have a relationship with Trey's son? Like, I need to know more about it. I think his name is Austin or something like that when I looked online. I did not know that he left behind a son. So, and I also want to know, has Papa Pam or Papa Hughes gotten grief counseling? Because you don't need a general counseling. When you've had such a tragic situation like that, you need a specific grief therapist. So I want to know if he's done that. Here's my gripe with Mama Pam. I'm going to go back to the picture thing. Mama Pam was like, well, I wasn't there, so I don't have much to say about that. Mama Pam, do you have an opinion on anything? Like, what is it with that generation where the women are so silent? It's like, do you have an opinion? Was he wrong? Was he right? Was he like, I was just like, so you're not going to be like, well, I don't agree with it. I love my husband, but I don't agree with it. Like, what is your opinion? Like, he took a picture. He admitted that he took a picture. Oh, well, I wasn't there. So I don't know. Is something going on with her that she internalizes everything. It's just kind of like, she's just very, just nothing. I ain't got nothing to say. I was just like, you must have an opinion on something. Anyway, here's the thing that Papa Pam, okay, their communication is terrible. So he apologized, and Savannah said, Savannah said, I don't want you to die with me having resentment towards you. And then he said, I don't want to die having resentment towards you. Savannah, what you should have said afterwards was, resentment towards me? What do you mean? She didn't ask, and then she went into the car and talked about it. And I also was like, what is he talking about? What resentment would he have towards Savannah? Like, I need to know more. And I wish they would have, unless they edited it out, I don't know. I wish she would have asked. Like, why didn't you ask? Like, why do you have resentment towards me? What did I do to you? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, the poor communication. Oh, I'm going to back up. When Todd called Savannah and Savannah was telling Todd about the whole picture thing, I didn't like that conversation in front of Chloe. This is my second time saying this. I feel like they have adult conversations in front of that girl. That conversation should not have been had in front of Chloe, because ultimately what you're doing is you're planting things in Chloe's head about her family members. I don't know. This is the second conversation that I have said that they've had in front of Chloe that I just don't think it's appropriate. Anyway, so I will say this. I F with Grayson to the fullest, because Grayson, you can tell Grayson does not play about Savannah. He is silently protective of a Savannah if you pay attention. Because when Papa Hughes came over, because Grayson could have been like, this has nothing to do with me. Like, I think he was wrong, but I still love him. Grayson was like, I don't want to talk to him. And when Papa Hughes opened the door, he was like, hey, buddy, how are you? He's like, good. He's like, thank you for your text. I wish they would have flashed the text that he sent. He was like, Grayson didn't reach over to give him a hug. He barely made any eye contact. He was like, get out of my face. I'm telling you, once Grayson finds a girlfriend or a wife, people like Grayson, they're gonna make the best boyfriends and the best husbands because they will be protective of their woman to the core. Because he's already protective of Chloe. He said, I am the only consistent male in Chloe's life. And you could see how he is about Savannah. He does not play about his big sister. And I really, really like that. You know, I really like that. He was not messing with the dad. Anyway, such tragic situation with the trip. Is that how it ended? Yeah. That's how it ended. So I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Instagram page, Paging Dr. Pam. Please like and subscribe and all the things. I enjoy reviewing this show. I told you all this video was going to be a little bit longer because number one, I've had a little cocktail, but there's so many layers to this episode that I wanted to take my time and review it. So sorry, but not sorry for the long video. Thank you for watching. Bye.